different perspectives.
Yes, no, that's awesome. I like I said, I don't know if I'd be as motivated to do this. Just show up to Monday meetings.
So I have a naive question for Sam, if I can.
Yep.
Go ahead.
All right. So my dad was intact, but I never really talked to him about it until a year before he passed away. And it wasn't one of those, but anyway, so does an intact man take what he has for granted and doesn't, do you automatically know that, hey, that guy's circumcised, he's missing this, this, and this, and all these good things I've got, and they don't have? Or it's sort of like, oh, I've always had this. And it's like if you've had money or if you've had something else, if it's not there anymore, you maybe not realize what you got.
I'll be right back, guys.
I would say that I think that when you're not circumcised, you are more aware of it.
I'm here. I'm up at the top.
Because, like for example,
no, my wife came by and took the
sometimes in having conversations with people, if you say, well, are you circumcised or not? And when a guy's like, well, I don't know, I'm like, okay, when they say they don't know, to me, that tells me they probably are.
Okay, no problem.
Because if you're not, you would know it. It's so I think when someone doesn't know, it's in, at least in the United States, that to me that says they were circumcised and they thought that was
I just always knew that when I got a little older, I grew up in a family with 4 boys. And, when Dad would talk to us about those sort of things, he would talk about how amazing not about my mother, but how amazing sex always was. And that's why we were there, because, and I'm not going to say I had bad sex. It wasn't bad, but it was never that mind-blowing experience he always talked about. I always wondered, what's wrong with me?
Well, I think it's definitely, the case. Sadly, circumcision removes the best part, so it's like, it's one of those things that people don't realize how much it adds to the experience, and I think one of those, when people talk about, like, there's always been expressions about Latin lovers and things like that over the years. I think that a lot of people, when they said that, unless you're in circles like this, I think a lot of people probably didn't realize, the reason why it was so fantastic is because those guys weren't circumcised.
Right.
And and I think a lot of Americans who would say something like that didn't put 2 and 2 together, never associated it with that. My
mom, when I told her that my daughter and her husband were not circumcising my grandson, she just gave me this funny look, like, I can't believe that. Yet she was married for 70 years to an intact man, and
wow.
I never knew of my dad. Well, my dad in later years told me he didn't ever have any problem. But I do know this, and I apologize for popping in here. It looks like I might be the oldest guy here, but this will happen to a circumcised man as he gets older. Number one, as you can imagine, sensitivity really starts to fall off. But what I know I miss the most is that my wonderful wife of 41 years, she can't hardly lubricate anymore. And we know as men that even as younger men, when we start to get excited, we start producing the best lube in the world. And I have thought so many times when we've attempted that, I should be the one, if I had all of my body that, and I still luckily do that, I would be lubricated. And then when we go to have intimacy, we don't have to stop and get out the bottle and do all that stupid shit that circumcised. And it will happen as you get older. And, you know, how do you tell young people that are expecting a baby boy, this will happen, you know, because it hadn't happened to them yet. So anyway, I'll shut up.
Yeah.
Well, that got everybody quiet.
Well, yeah, I would just say, you know, when Daniel was talking at the beginning, you know, I'll just say it's like one of the things that I was very happy about is when I was, so my husband is Peruvian.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I was first telling him how I was involved in this kind of activities and things like that, he was, you know, he instantly was like, oh yeah, we need to stop that. You know, I mean, he was surprised, you know, because in Peru, it's not a conversation they typically have because it's not a problem that they, you know, no
Hopefully
one.
They do not do it, right?
Yeah, circumcision is like 3% or whatever. And where, I mean, he's up in the northern part, and I mean, it's virtual. I mean, he's like, I've never seen a circumcised penis before, you know, so, you know, he's, but he was immediately, you know, without a second thought, was like, oh, I'm going to help you in this process. So, so it was like, again, I think, you know, it's those of us who I think appreciate what we have, we're like, you know, how can you subject another guy and take away this amazing part of the body?
Absolutely.
You know, so.
Yeah. I find it surprising that so many, that most intact men are not really, don't really like care about the fact that circumcision happens, you know. It's like you think most intact men would like want to promote what they have and what they experience, you know.
You know, one thing that I've thought about that is, you know, like, I mean, I've always been happy and proud about it and all that, but I think so many, you know, there's so many lies and misinformation that maybe intact men in the United States maybe don't speak up, because I think in some cases they're kind of embarrassed or ashamed about it. You know, they've kind of internalized some of those things that people have said, because I've heard people kind of say almost apologetically, you know, kind of like oh, I'm not circumcised or whatever, you know, and it's as if like they're almost apologizing for not being
like
better or whatever,
you know, and
you know, and I think that's why
we're seeing that happen a little bit with the vaccination thing. It doesn't matter whether you're pro, for, against, whatever, but I can see that media or certain groups are starting to make people that have chosen not to vaccinate like they're dirty, they're disease spreading, they're nasty. You got to avoid them. You got to, and that's
well, and I think that's what unfortunately some guys who are not circumcised have kind of internalized, you know. And like you'll even find, like, for example, you know, Hispanic cultures don't circumcise, but you'll find that some Hispanics have done it because either the doctor has told them it's better or something, or they want to fit in, or they have this idea,
American, right?
Yeah, they have this idea that, oh, well, American medicine must be better or something like that. And that's where I thought, you know, like I had talked with my husband, and we had talked about, like, you know, this would be something where being able to, you know, try to tell people, no, don't fall for that crap. You know, it's like, no, don't buy into it. You got it right. You got it right already.
And you've got a right to do that because you can disprove, you can personally disprove the myth, right?
Exactly. Right. Yeah.
You know, my oldest son born in 78, my youngest son born in 86. We didn't question it. It's what you did. It's what you were expected to do. Why? Because it was dirty. You were dirty. That foreskin made you dirty, you know, because, stupid. Yeah.
All right. In a second, I'm going to show you guys. I'm just removing the last names because I don't want any last names on this when I show it online, because I do want to share this on the internet. I'm just doing the last names just for because it's easier to keep track of, but I'm going to get rid of all these last names real quick. I want to show you guys this because we need to make sure that everybody's on the right page when it comes to the web form sending. And just so you guys know, I'm going to give you a little bit of background just real quick. I'm going to show you guys something just as soon as I finish getting all these last names off of here. And what we'll do is what I want to do today is I want to make sure that everybody that's here is really solid with their part with sending web forms. If you're sending web forms and they're comfortable with it, if that you have all the information you need, whether it's access to the YouTube video on this. Okay, let me just make sure. Shut this down and we should be clear of all the last names. Okay, except for Scott White. Scott White, you don't care, right? My name is Dan Rold, so I don't really care either. Okay, but anyways, I just want to show you guys. I don't
care what? What was your question, Danny?
You don't care if I share your last name, right?
No, I'll stay with anonymous section. Anyway.
Too late, man.
Oh,
too late. Okay, I think our names are literally popping up on this anyways, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, but anyways, I just took it off of the people that are not here just in case they don't want their name and they're helping us. I don't know. I'm just being a little bit extra careful, probably unnecessarily, but you know, like I'm not scared to share this information or my information. But anyways, what I want to do is for everybody on the phone here, for you that haven't been or maybe don't know, we recently finished a campaign for the Bloodstained Men. Okay, we are independent. We are not associated with the Bloodstained Men. We are not in any way connected with them, but we feel that we need to help them with their media outreach because we realized that they needed more media coverage. And so we decided to gather a lot of the database. This is how this really started, the database and the stuff that we're doing. This literally started because we realized that, hey, let's say we go to Orlando in Florida. Well, let's get all the media outlets in Orlando, everyone that we could possibly get. Let's send them web forms. Let's send them emails. Let's send them information, and let's call them and let them know. You know, this is an opportunity to call them, leave messages. We can say whatever we want in the messages. We can leave extremely important, valuable, factual information. I'll kind of give you guys what I would do is I'd call them. I'd say, hello, my name is Daniel Rold. I'm a human rights activist. I'm calling to inform you about the Bloodstained Men that are going to be traveling through your town at such and such a date, and it's such and such an area. And the reason why we are concerned about this is in the United States of America, we do this weird aberration where we strap down our little baby boys and remove 1/2 the surface area, 75% of the nerve endings, including the two most sensitive parts, the frenulum and the ridge band, from the middle of our child's genitals. And we do this for the most ridiculous of medical reasons. Medical reasons that we are given, such as UTIs, cancer, HIV, are really trivial and ridiculous, and there's way better ways of preventing them. And the reason why this actually started, why doctors are doing it, is because it started as an anti-masturbation campaign in the 1890s when it was believed that sin caused diseases. So we're literally doing 19th century quackery to our little boys today, and it's extremely painful. And I would just go through this whole kind of spiel. And so I'd say it's extremely painful. In fact, it's so painful, it literally creates an alteration in the epigenome of the child, meaning that their brain structures have morphological changes due to what's called by Harvard University an adverse childhood experience. And literally, the earlier this happens in a child's life, the more detrimental it is to the psychology of the child. And then that's my spiel, right? So they're getting the history, They're getting the debunk of the medicine. They're getting the anatomy, structure, and function right off the bat in a very quick, easy to, and I do a little bit better than that, but it's been a while. And anyway, so I kind of give them that spiel. That's a message I leave with them. So I don't know how many people I left messages with, probably 300 or 400 reporters. And I'm talking like messages day in, day out. So as the Bloodstained Men were on tour, every morning I was calling either calling the next town that they were going to, informing the media of the next place that they were going to go to. I would spend 4, 5, 6 hours doing nothing but phone calls, leaving nothing but messages, talking to reporters, talking to editors, talking to publishers, anybody that I could gather their information. So all this information came from the internet. Okay. And so we gathered all their information from the internet that we could possibly find from, utilizing the internet and their websites. And we put that in a file format that we have on our computer. It's through Google Docs. And this is a database that we've created that literally has, I think right now we're up to like 20,000 emails of high value targets. I know we've done 10 states. So 10 full states. That's including California and Florida, which are two biggest databases. California itself has over 1,200 media outlets. So that means 1,200 media outlets. We gathered every bit of contact information, web forms, social media, although I'm dropping social media, emails, phone numbers, and then who these people are, their names, all this stuff, all this additional information. So anyways, prior to our doing this process of our developing these processes, okay, the average amount of media coverage or published articles that the Bloodstained Men would get, and you can go back to any of their tours and Google this and look back in their past and see how many media articles they published within that time period, and you will find an average of about 3 or 4 articles published per tour. So they would go on a 15 to 20, city tour and get maybe 3 or 4 articles published. Okay. And that was really insignificant to me. It just seemed, like, we have this huge traveling band of protesters with bloodstained crotches, and this is a spectacle, and it's designed to be a spectacle. It's designed to get attention, right? They're going to major street corners and trying to get people to pay attention to us. And anyways, so if we're going to do all of this and we don't maximize the output, the media outreach, it's just seemed like a waste, right? This is a huge amount of Intactivist money and donations that are going to this, and it just seemed like we could do much better. The 3 times I traveled with the Bloodstained Men, they came to they came to Chula Vista, Santee, and then I went with them up to Anaheim in California, and not one reporter showed up except for I think I did 4. I don't remember what the 4th one was, but anyways, there was 4 of them total. One of the days, a reporter showed up that they happened to be a student reporter who was driving by. So the student reporter was driving by, saw the protest, and got out and started and wanted to do an article on it. Well, to me, that was just like, how are you going to have, we're sitting here on the street corner. This is something, if you're a reporter in Chula Vista or Santee or Anaheim or any of these places, and you have a traveling group of protesters coming through your town, to me, that's a significant, thing, right? That's, here's 15 people or 10, 15 people on the street corner with big signs. This is a traveling professional group of protesters, that do this for, nonprofit, of course, but they're doing this, that's a spectacle, and that's something that, would gather media, right? That's the whole point of it, it seems to me, because the media, it seems to me, would extend that outreach by dramatic numbers, right? How many, maybe on a street corner, you can, 400 or 500 people can drive by in a couple of hours or whatever, or, maybe 4 or 5 hours. But if I get a published article, and one of these published articles that we got had a counter on it, is the only one that I saw that with the counter. And I haven't seen one with the counter since, unfortunately, but that one that had a counter had 13,000 views, right? And so we started running these back in the Southern College tour, and they're doing a tour of the Southern College states. And so we ran that, we ran our media outreach program then. It was the first time we really ran it hardcore for a whole tour, and we got 15 articles published, right? Or the Bloodstained Men got 15 articles published. So going from 3 or 4 on average to 15 articles is a dramatic improvement, right? Well, they just did the Pennsylvania tour, and of course we were going hardcore into this one. And also we had our first campaign, which is what we're sending right now. Our first campaign went out to the state to the emails of Pennsylvania. Okay, so every email that we had of Pennsylvania had got the first 4 emails. And then the Bloodstained Men showed up, and then we ran campaigns to them. We did phone calls, we did emails, we did web forms, and we got 20 articles printed in 15 days. 3 of those were on Yahoo, MSN, and Newsbreak, which are national media organizations. So I'm going to show you guys this so you guys can see this is the power of what we're doing. And I think it's extremely valuable what we're doing because Brandon Murata literally wrote a book about this, right? About utilizing, getting organized and utilizing outreach and developing a list, a target audience list, you know, which is internet marketing techniques. So we're basically utilizing internet marketing techniques to grow our outreach. And we wanted to target specific targeted groups. Well, we started with the media because that was the most obvious thing, and that was highly effective, right? So we also decided to get doulas and midwives, and then we got parenting groups, and then we have a large group of miscellaneous groups which includes the almost every contact form at the American Academy of Pediatrics, which have like 40 contact forms. So 40 different pediatricians in the American Academy of Pediatrics are also getting this information. And so I want them to know that we're out there going after them and that we are completely against their ridiculousness and that we really want to rot out their organization from the inside. So I want all these pediatricians reading this stuff because, you know, maybe they might be the hardened group, but, you know, it really takes me 2 or 3 minutes to send a whole bunch of these.
Don't forget the OBGYNs.
Well, we'll get there soon. I mean, the thing is like, there's so many high value targets that we could focus on. You know, for instance, I was talking to somebody about this recently is, let's see if I can fix this. I don't know why it doesn't pull me up when I'm talking, but anyway, what I was gonna say is, you know, injury lawyers, child psychologists, priests, you know, schools, churches, universities, okay, professors of sociology, cultural anthropology, psychology, philosophy, critical and thinking and logic, these types of professors, right? I mean, imagine, you know, we literally have a cultural aberration in our society that you can utilize to teach college students, right? So sociology professors, you know, they have a unique position that they're literally teaching the process of enculturation, how something like this, what we're dealing with, you know, this horrible thing done to children, how something so egregious and disgusting and obviously wrong, you know, to anybody with a reasonable mind, a logical, reasonable mind could figure this out. Even with a priori, without even a bunch of advanced knowledge. A priori means just through thinking yourself. I mean, literally, if you've graduated 5th grade biology and you understand that this is half the surface area, 75% of the nerves of this very important part of our body, and you graduated 3rd grade math, you know, this is a math problem. What's 100 minus 75? You know, that's 25%, and that's not a very, I guess that you shouldn't be happy about having 25% left of the actual sensation you were born with. I mean, that's nothing to be proud of as any man, right? That's why the idea of a man being okay with this or I'm fine is just, it's absolutely ludicrous. We should not accept that as a reasonable position. You know, some people say, oh, okay, I'm glad you're fine, but this is no, don't say that. Just say, look, that's a really weak-minded position. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know the anatomy, because if you did understand the anatomy and what you're missing, you wouldn't be fine about it. There's just no way any rational man would be. You know, and to say that you're fine to other men is literally ridiculous. You know, I mean, even to women, of course, but a man, you know, we understand how men are, right? We understand how invested we are in our egos and invested we are in being the man and, you know, being so cool or all that other good stuff, that we want to be like the best lover that a woman's ever have, right? Every one of us wants to be the best lover for our woman or our man or whatever partner that we're with, right? That we care about and we love, right? So we want them to have the best experience, right? So that's a part of our egos, right? So to deny that and say that that's not the case, that we're fine, is just absolutely ludicrous and ridiculous. So anyways, I'm kind of going off on a tangent. Let me get back to what I was saying. So we started doing this, and I'm going to show you just some of the articles that we've had published. Let me share my screen with you guys. And to me, this was more than validation that what we're doing is more than influential, and that we can literally be the solution to what, number one, what Intactivism is not doing, because nobody else is doing what we're doing. Maybe there's somebody out there that's creating a list and they're getting Intactivists on their list, and all that's fine and dandy. But are they outreaching to high value professionals? Do they have a campaign written out, the structure to their campaign that can help them to break this subject or broach this subject with people of professional class who have the ability to influence our culture and influence the thoughts of our culture, right? We're the only people doing that. And in every group that's, you know, from Intact America to Your Whole Baby to Saving Sons, I mean, this should be part of what they're doing. And if they're not, then we can help them to learn how to do this. This is the solution to our problems, you know, utilizing modern marketing techniques. So let me just pull up the.
So you say that we're the only ones. So that means that's not if, then that means, you know, they're not doing this.
I would be, maybe somebody out there is, I don't know, but I can't vouch for everybody.
Okay,
but I don't know anybody else doing this. Yeah.
I'm getting ideas that, how about, that can be another, what do we say, program or campaign, what do you call it, where we start contacting the people in those groups and we start getting them to do this.
Well, guess what? I did that as well. They're part of our miscellaneous group. So every Intactivist organization that's out there, that they're part of our miscellaneous group. So they're going to be getting these campaigns as well. So so they should be getting them as well.
Do you have any like good connections to people in those groups? I guess phone numbers, they'd want to talk to me. I'll do it. I mean, I'll reach out to them.
Right. Well, I mean, I did send a message to Bloodstained Men again recently. I don't know if any of you know this, but I don't want to get into that. Let me leave that alone. Okay, let me just show you some of the stuff we've got. These are, I mean, just fantastic articles that are published in major media, and nobody can say that if we did not do this massive campaign, that probably half these articles wouldn't be published. Okay, so nobody can tell me that. In fact, I mean, it's literally proof that what we're doing works, and this is extremely effective. I'm going to just pull up some of these just so you can see them. This is literally, I want to pull up the Yahoo one so you see that. Here's the MSN one. Okay, this is MSN, right? So MSN, we got Yahoo right here, did a reprint. Let me pull up. Newsbreak did a reprint right here. I'm counting these in my 20 because, these are going out to, here's Newsbreak, right? Okay, Newsbreak's a national news organization. This is I have Newsbreak, I have the app on my phone, okay, for national media. Okay, so this went out to Newsbreak. Unfortunately, we don't have anybody, posting here, right? This should be talked about. But this, that's Newsbreak. Here's Yahoo News. Okay, anti-circumcision group protests in Muhlenberg Township. Okay, this is David Atkinson. This is Yahoo News. Okay, so right, these are this is what we're looking for. This is the reason why we're doing all this shit that we're doing, because of this. Here's MSN. Okay, so we literally have proof that what we're doing works, and this is, in my opinion, the most valuable thing in Intactivism. I hate to brag or whatever, but I really want, if we had 20, 25 volunteers like you guys who are committed to this, who showed up, who we got people that don't make it to the phone calls because of work schedule or whatever and stuff like that. I get it. That they're still with us, right? They're still volunteering. But if we can get 25 people to volunteer like this, we could open up new target audiences. We could develop new databases. We could blow this shit up. Okay, here's Pittsburgh City Paper. Okay, fantastic, right? Here's Pennsylvania News Today. Bloody man raises concerns about circumcision at Wilkes Barre demonstration. Here you got David Atkinson right here. These images are very powerful to show up in media. Okay, and like I said, we had one of these. It was literally a small news agency in Florida when we were doing the prior to the 2015 AAP convention, and we had it was 13,000 views on that one article. Okay, so let's say this gets 2,000 views or 5,000 views. Okay, 5,000 additional views compared to what the Bloodstained Men got sitting on the street corner there. Can you imagine not having this article printed? Like how many babies literally are going to be saved just because of one of these articles, right? And so to me, this is how you how you break the culture, how you break into the cultural, ignorance that we live in. I mean, you guys are talking about, intact men body shame. I just had a conversation with some guy on, everybody's had it, if you've been on social media at all. Some guy's like, oh, this is where you draw the line in the sand. This is what you're spending your time on. Okay. I mean, just the, the ridiculous kind of like, the denial that we get, it's literally denial. Look at this one, Morning Call. Look at these pictures. I mean, just even if the article sucks, and I'll show you an article that sucks. Even if the article sucks, it's still still getting this in people's faces, right? So this is so valuable that to me, it's just fantastic. I mean, look at these images. They're both. Look at whoever the photographer was. If you know anything about photography, you see how Brother K stands out. Okay, you don't want the background coming up in the foreground. Okay, you want the background to be blurred. Whoever did this, they were able to move past the vehicle and get Brother K to be the target. Right, this is a very high quality picture. Okay, if you understand photography, I took some photography classes back in the day. Okay, so here's another one. This was Collegian. Unfortunately, they did a pre-protest article, though, and they didn't get any pictures of it, but that's still pretty cool. That was the first pre-protest article we had. This one is one of the best articles I've read by a reporter. There was one other article that we got published in Florida that was fantastic. That literally had bullet points from an email that I sent to them, republished in the article. And they succinctly picked the best news articles. It was fantastic. But anyways, this one's Cranberry Eagle. You guys should read this. If you don't have access to these, I'll send them to you. But this was a great article. And it's got Danny Alexander here standing on this. And look at this. This is another great picture. So, this stuff does work, right? It does work. And if you do this with us, you will do far more than you ever could posting on social media. And in fact, I'm back on Facebook, and if you go on my, I know that my outreach is very limited. So, even with the Facebook account, even if I was posting every day, even with Twitter and all that other stuff, there's, you've probably heard of shadow banning, where they will look for people that are considered conspiracy theorists or people outside of the social norms that share things that may be controversial, okay, that they limit our outreach. So you're not getting the general public to read, mostly your posts on social media. But this is going to high value targets of people that have influence, reporters, dualism midwives, all kinds of people that are very, very high value. So anyways, that's what we're doing this for. I just wanted to show you guys that and how powerful this really is. And I really think we're a big part of the answer, the solutions that we have been missing out on. So anyways, I want to make sure that everybody that's here is really confident that you have the emails that Scott's going to send to you and that you're very solid on where you're at. So Sim, I don't know if I know we talked, and I kind of the reason why I had Scott kind of jump on with me and start helping me is because I can get sidetracked very easily. And, I've had some people come on and say, hey, I'm going to help you out with this. And then I haven't followed up with them, which is literally a big issue, because if somebody says they're going to volunteer with us and I don't follow through with that, that's my mistake. And I need to fix that. And so what I realize is that, go ahead, Scott.
It was Sam. I was just going to say,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say, yeah, I jumped on tonight, because I got the message that you were going to have it, and I hadn't been to one of these before. I know we've talked before, and you've posted some of my memes and stuff on your website. Right. So I thought, you know what, I'm not doing anything at the moment. This is a good chance just to kind of see who's involved in your group and kind of what you're doing. So I just figured I'd jump in and kind of see what's happening.
Yeah, this might not make a little sense to you, but let me just explain it to you. So we have written campaigns. The first campaign is the FGM to MGM campaign. We're utilizing psychological techniques one of the psychological techniques that we're using is people already understand this issue, understand the FGM issue, right? So we're taking something that somebody already understands and we're connecting to something they don't. Okay, so that's a tool or technique of psychology. So what we did is we started with the FGM to MGM campaign. The second campaign that we're going to send out is anatomy, structure, and function. The third campaign will be on the psychological influence of cutting children. The fourth campaign will be on the history and the medical, the ridiculous medical excuses. And then after that, it's literally open season on whatever we want to send. But I really wanted to have those 4 campaigns going out because the people need to be educated in those 4 areas in order to fully wrap their mind around this. The FGM to MGM campaign is literally just to get our foot in the door, to get people to read further. Okay. And the way I started the FGM to MGM campaign is I started talking about the Nagarwala case getting thrown out of court. Then we moved on to the psychological damage of FGM. Okay. And then we moved on to the different types of FGM 1 through 4. Then the next one is the how FGM flourishes in the culture and how it's so difficult to eradicate. And the last one will be why, unless we realize that cutting all children is wrong, that we will never be able to end female genital cutting. In fact, the female genital cutters are utilizing our excuses to cut the females. And so this is a large reason why our FGM to MGM campaigns have been largely ineffective. And so anyways, did somebody else want to say something?
I have a question. Is there anyone here who's not assigned?
Well, I don't think Sam is, and we got to talk with Sam. We got to get his approval before we.
Okay, so for those of you who would be willing, please, to send out forms, who is not currently doing that, we'll talk about it later. But yeah, talk to me. Well, at the end of the call, and
yeah, we can, Scott, if you want, include your phone number in the contact.
Oh, hey, Danny, that's got to be the old one you're looking at there. I sent you an updated because everyone had a box.
Oh no, this was just the one that you sent me earlier. So don't worry about that. We'll get that.
I think you're a newer one.
Yeah, we'll get that taken care of. Don't worry about that right now. Yeah, Sam, if you think that you want to join in on this, what we're doing is we've sent. Okay, so this is. Oh, I don't want to show you this previous one. But we've sent 2 campaigns already to the web forms. The web forms take the longest, right? Because the web forms, you literally have to go on. I'll just kind of give you an example. Let me pull this up real quick. Okay, I'm going to show you midwives and doulas because you guys realize how valuable this is. Here's a New York doulas web forms, right? So this is what you do. You open up the database here. Sorry, this might take a second because I have to recover these. Hold on a second. Okay, finish. Okay, so watch how cool this is. Now, Lee helped us with organizing this, and this is why this is like the most organized, because not all of these have these numbers in. But you just go over here, right? And you click this, and then you click this, and you click this, and you click this, and you click this, and you open up like 20 of these, right? And you go through here, and you copy and paste the web forms. You click here. You're going to put my information, my email. You copy and paste the information. That's not really the information I'm going to send. You send it, right? And then you click off it, and you go to the next one. These are midwives and doulas. Okay, you go, let's see, here's our leave a message. So you pop open this thing right here. You put your name, email, your message, right? And you submit it. And they get these campaigns. The best part about these web forms is there's no spam filter. This bypasses any spam filter. So every single one of these emails will go to the inbox of this person. So here's the doulas. I mean, look at how valuable this is. I mean, it's just so powerful. Okay, this is I don't know why we have 2 of those. Okay, let me go to this next one. Okay, New York City doula. Okay, New York City is an organization of doulas, right? Who better to send this to? This is going to go to like 5 or 6 different doulas, maybe even more. Okay, large groups of doulas. Okay, they're going to get our information. They're going to get our campaigns. I can't stress this enough. It's literally common sense, right? If you really wanted to break into a culture, how would you do it? Well, you find the most important people that are influenced by the information, and you target them, and you send them campaigns, you send them emails, you write it out, and you send it to them, right? So the thing that's really cool about volunteers that are doing this is you don't have to write the campaigns. I'll write it all for you, right? So we've already written 4. We're gonna almost done with the 5th one, which will be the final campaign. Okay, so we're gonna do all of that for you. Okay, so all you have to do, really, the work, the bottleneck is sending the web forms, because this has to be picked. You have to go over here. You have to open these up. You have to put your name and information in here. You see how this pops up, the information, right? Okay, you know, I'll put my phone number. Sometimes if it doesn't go in there, I'll put it in there. Okay. Sometimes you'll get a page like this where it'll say location. I'll just put some BS in there, but the additional details is what they're going to get the information, right? Okay. Now this is a doula's. Hey, they're trying to, get, what do you call them? They're trying to get customers, right? Pregnant women to hire them, right? So, anyways, I mean, just who would you rather getting this information than birthcenter.com, right? Like, who else is going to be better than this? I don't know anybody. I mean, maybe the media getting those other articles published because of the Bloodstained Men going to them was, takes a very high precedence, right? But as far as that's concerned, this to me, the best parts that are going to our campaigns is these doulas and midwives. I mean, everybody's going to be influential that we have, and we really need to send to the whole. We have a huge number of these campaigns. That's why we need help. There's no way for me to send them by myself, right? I need help to do this, and every person that I get that can help me send to look. How many people are on this list right here? That's 90 doulas. Okay, 90 doulas in New York are going to get this stuff, right? And are going to get every campaign that we send out. So, it's.
So I got really can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
So we put in, the first contact is we put in our personal information.
No, you
our
put
name.
in my information.
I put yours in. Okay.
Yeah, you're gonna put my information in.
Okay.
And here's why, because this is going to go to, let me just show you my email. 1 second. This is going to, so I get, when you start sending these out, I'll get a lot of feedback. So this lets me know who's sending what. And this also lets me know, this also helps me to organize it. But I want to show you the emails that have been, the feedback that we're getting, so you can see how many of these are being sent out, right? Let's see this. I mean, look at these. These are all Psychology Today, new research at Harvard's, Letters, Opinion, Kansas City, George News, right? Okay, North County News, Daily, whatever.
And we're sending them the campaign. You have the campaign pre-organized.
Here's an example. This is email 3. Okay. So why do cutting cultures cut? Why it's so difficult to protect children from genital cutting, right? Okay, so why would this be valuable for a male genital mutilation culture? Because the same shit that they're doing over there is the same shit we're doing over here. It's the
same they use the exact same arguments too.
Exactly. They use the exact same arguments, the same shit. So this is literally going to create waves, I promise you. And anybody that reads these 5 articles, if they're not completely shocked and literally changing their opinion by the end of this, then there's some cold bleeding charcoal heart that they have that somehow, or maybe they're just part of a simulation. Really, I don't know. Maybe they're proof that there is a simulation, that we're all a simulation.
Are those drop downs that were happening when you were doing it? Is that all set up with your database like that?
No, this when you go to these emails right here, this is because, okay, so that's a good question. You see, if I manage this, these are because Chrome itself will save addresses and more. Okay, so auto saves, right? So these are auto saves. He's got phone number. They've got emails, addresses, and phone numbers for me. So that all I have to do is go in here and literally click on it, and then click the right thing, and it pops this out, right? Of course, estimated due date. I got to fill that out. But
so we would have to just copy and paste for your information.
Copy and paste from the email into there, so that you have the email, my name, phone number, and so that's the reason why I did that is because, number one, you don't have to have complete anonymity, right? I mean, they could track your, I think they could track your IP address. I mean, you could get
no doula is going to care that much to track the IP address, though.
No. I mean, let's be honest, right? Like, no one's going to care. But I mean, if they care that much, they can just send me an email. I've had a doula send me an email saying she doesn't want to be on the list, and I sent her another response, and questioned her motives and said that this. I don't want to get into that, but yeah. So I removed her from the list. So she's not on the list. Okay, you won't get an email from me. I don't care. Really, like who is she? She's inconsequential to me, really, in the scheme of things. Anybody that's not influenced by this information is just, to me, they're not even really human per se. Like there's something wrong with them. There's something missing in their brain, right? There's something, a lack of some sort of brain chemistry problem. It's just, to me, they're inconsequential. So it's kind of like, okay, I don't really care what you think. Goodbye. See you later. That's kind of my opinion about that. And really, that's where we should, but look at all these. I mean, look at all these emails. I've gotten thousands of these emails. Okay, this is going back here October. I could just keep going. These are all forms that have been sent, right? Okay, I mean, and I get this information. Roosevelt Today, Island Empire Business. Okay, I don't care if they're Iron Empire Business Journal. I'll send this to everybody. This is a business, right? This is a business. So it's important for business people. I had some lady tell me she was a consumer, what do you call them? A consumer investigator. And she said, well, this doesn't really have to do with consumer. I was like, are you kidding me? Doctors make money off. This is a $2 billion a year business. This has everything to do with consumer issues. If you're a consumer investigator and you're not investigating this, again, you're kind of an idiot, right? I mean, I just hate to say it, but that's true. That's the way it is. So anyways, if you are so concerned about the VPN or the virtual, your IP address, what you can do is you go to Proton Mail, sign up for it. There's literally a free VPN that Proton Mail, let's see, I don't have it right here, right off the bat.
Yeah, I'm not that concerned. I've put all my information out there plenty of times, as I'm sure everybody has seen.
Right. Nobody should be ashamed of this anyways. I don't know why this is not. Okay, let's do that. Okay. So any questions on what we've talked about so far? To me, this is the most powerful thing that's out there. This is the best bang for your Intactivist.
I got a question, Daniel.
Go ahead.
How is it that anyone could compile a different kind of contact list, one that has people on it that we haven't contacted before?
What's your question? I mean, are you asking about developing the database?
Well, yeah, I guess that is.
Well, I mean,
I'd like to create new databases. What I want to do, or what I'm saying is, and maybe I'm not the only one who will do this, but I want to assign everyone the list we have, so everyone's working on it, and then at that point, then I'm not doing that anymore. I'm still on California, and then I can create a new database. So
I mean, there's whatever target you feel, and that's another thing is, okay, so if someone came to me and said, hey, I'm a Christian and I really care about this issue and I want to start to develop a church database, to me, this is a huge potential target because Christians are bound by the book, right? The Bible, right? And so the Bible is supposed to be their guide, right? It's supposed to be untouched, the word of God, right? So if this is their belief and they're literally denying the whole point of Christianity, right? So you have all these preachers and they have 80% of their congregation is generally mutilated. That's a failure on the part of the church, right? So let's say we have a Christian Intactivist who is dedicated and said, look, I really want to do this. Let's get them started on developing the database. Well, we just help them with developing the database, give them all the access to the database. We help them with campaigns. We'll help them with that. We'll basically, it's like a turnkey ready system that anybody can utilize, right? That anybody can create with. In fact, I don't care if somebody says, I want to create my own database and screw you. I don't like you. You're an asshole, Dan, and I don't want to be involved with you. But this is smart and it's intelligent. And the design process is just intuitive, right? It makes sense. But this is probably the only solution that there really literally is, right? As far as, going, I mean, this is far beyond protesting on a street corner. This is far beyond, I mean, I wouldn't say it's far beyond a traveling group that's protesting around the country, getting 20 media articles published every time that they do it. That's huge, right? That's a very valuable thing. But, besides that, like, what is there? And what Intactivist has access to that? Unless you're on the Bloodstained Men crew, you don't have access to that. Unless they come to your town, you don't have access to that. So what are you going to do? I mean, you can bitch on social media. Social media is a circle jerk. All your friends that you're already Intactivists, you're all sharing, you're all liking your own stuff. Well, guess what? They're already Intactivists. They already know this stuff, right? I mean, yes, it's important for us to raise the knowledge of other Intactivists. And I would never say that you shouldn't be posting on social media. Again, we go back to this almost every time, but it's so much more powerful than anything you're going to do on social media. I promise.
Well,
you.
hey, Dan, okay? that gives me a good, I mean, that was a good point. How about religious groups? What if there were people who would be willing to talk to their religious organizations?
We need to get those people on board with us. That's where,
that's what I'm asking. So who are they? Do you know any? And can I mean, if you know them, I'll reach out to them.
If I did, they would already be here, right? Like, I mean, everybody that, I was blocked from Facebook for a little while. I'm back on, but who knows how temporary that is. I'm going to try to keep it straight, narrow, and PC as possible. But who knows? They could still boot me off anytime if they want. But anyways, so yeah, I mean, if I knew somebody that was, I mean, I had some people that said that they were going to do it and then they kind of fell off. You know what I mean? It's just, you get a lot of people that, hey, this sounds great, let me get on it. And then life hits them in the face or whatever. And shit happens. And, there's people with legit excuses and reasons that they can't follow through. And then there's a bunch of bullshit excuses, which is very, very common as well. And that's why we're not looking for every single Intactivist. We're just looking for the ones that are literally going to follow through, the ones that are going to dedicate 2 hours a week to this, right? Because I mean, it shouldn't take you more than 2 hours to, that you saw 90. You saw how quickly I opened up 5 of them, right? I mean, how long would it take me to send 90 forms, right? It's not going to take that long, and so it's very easy. It's low stress. You're not dealing with cutter parents on social media. Having them say the most ridiculous things to you. You have to bite your tongue and you really want to scream out at them and yell at them. And now you have to, let me be nice and try to, you know what I mean? And you don't have to deal with that. You don't have to deal with bullshit. You're just going to send it and you're done. And then you know that you created influence. Now, the thing is this is not where it ends. Okay. This is just the beginning, right? This is just the beginning now, because here's why. After this, we're moving on to the tele-intactivism phone calls. And that's where I'm really excited, because we're going to be doing that real soon. I've got to get, we had a system set up, and I really apologize about that because I had some financial problems. I just moved and getting a job and all that stuff. And so I just had some financial problems, and I literally couldn't pay for this cheap email thing. And it ended up getting removed, but we have to reinstall it. I'm going to have help with that, but that's going to be we're going to have a whole email system. So that's been delayed, and I really apologize to everybody about that. But the email system is going to be automatic. So those 20,000 emails, 20,000 plus emails that we have are going to be going out in an automated system that will be, hopefully functioning within the next couple of months, and fully functioning in the next couple of months, which means every email that goes into that database will automatically get on this process of sending. Okay, that's why the web forms are literally the bottleneck, right? The web forms are the bottleneck, because we have to have somebody literally click on each one, fill out the contact information, cut and paste the article, and then send it. And the sending process, they might have to answer some CAPTCHA things, and the CAPTCHA things can be an annoying ass thing where it'll pop up and it'll say, click all the crosswalks. You have to click all the crosswalks, and then another crosswalk pops up. You have to click that, and another cross. Sometimes that happens. What I've done is, and if this does happen to you, I haven't mentioned this to anybody yet because it started happening to me the last time I was sending web forms. But what I would do is I would change the browser I was using. So I would go from Chrome to what is the other Microsoft one? even though I hate Microsoft. What's the other one? Anyways, you get the point. Just change your browser and restart, and you're going to get a refresh. And so those captures will become a lot easier. Anyways, that's just a side note. But anyways, you guys can see how powerful this is. Let me make sure I'm covering everything, because I did send out an email earlier today about everything that I wanted to cover tonight. Okay, so, so we talked about the third email campaign. So Bentley, let me make sure that you are, let's see, because Bentley is doing New York. Now, Bentley, did you have a chance to send New York? And Scott said that you were taking over the miscellaneous groups, which is another fantastic set of groups. So did you get, Bentley, we have you on 2. I want to make sure that you're okay with that.
Yeah.
And I also wanted, that's fine. And so you're already done. You've already, I pulled that up. I wasn't supposed to. You've already sent out 2 emails for the whole New York second dualism midwives, correct? Because this is the 3rd one.
Yeah, I'm just still finishing the list that he just sent me the other day.
Okay, that's the miscellaneous group that Scott sent you right here? Okay, because we have you for the New York, because you're going to be helping Lee with the New York dualism midwives. And so I have you sent, you've completed 2 so far, and you're on the 3rd one. I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
Yes, sorry, it's on mute.
Okay, that's okay. That's fine. Okay, good, good. Okay, so we're on track with that. That's awesome. Okay, I guess that's pretty much it with that. I just talked to Brett Johnson today on the phone, and Brett said he had Luke with him this past weekend. I think they did a homecoming parade in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and it was supposedly fantastic. And so I talked with Scott, and I'm sorry, Scott. I talked with Brett, and he said that it was really, really good. So we did not send out unfortunately, I didn't get to the stage where I was able to do our media outreach for them, but we're going to start covering the media outreach for cockfight.org. That's another thing that we're going to be doing. That's why it's so important that we get all these lists, these web form lists, covered and secure, so everybody's really confident that they're on the right page. They know how to do it. They have the okay. So when you get an email, it's going to have 4 different things. It's going to have the web forms that you're going to send to, that list I just showed you, the actual email itself that you're going to copy and paste. It's going to have some images, okay, some images that you're going to include. Some of these will, you didn't see this on the doulas, but a lot of the media forms will have a add photo opportunity, so you can add a photo to it. I don't know if any of the doulas midwives have that or not. I don't think any of them do, but that's no big deal. So you're not going to send the emails to the picture to them, but the media, definitely you're going to send any opportunity you have to send a picture. Remember, picture says 10,000 words. So if you send one of these pictures, and I'm going to, never mind. You're going to send the pictures, and then the last thing is the link to the YouTube that describes how to send these web forms, and it takes you through the process of sending the web forms to make sure you know how to do it and that you're confident with doing it. So you want to, when you open up that email, first thing is probably watch that video, and then you'll know how to do it. And then if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Scott. He's your initial contact. And then if you have any additional questions beyond that, you can always reach out to me. For whatever reason, you can always contact me about anything. So if you ever have any questions about anything. But as far as this is concerned, your first point of contact will be Scott. Okay,
did Brett tell you his schedule for his touring is?
I know he sent me some information on that, so I don't know where he's at next week. Probably tonight I'm going to be getting on that. And sure
November 25th, they're going to Lincoln, Nebraska. I sent you a.
Oh, on the 25th.
Text on
well,
that.
Don't they have one this coming weekend or no?
I don't know. That's
okay.
Yeah. Does he have a website, right? Does he have a website?
If they do,
you can check
that.
Me
and Brad are going to start getting together on his website and start fixing his website.
Okay,
so
good.
I'm going to get together with him. He just needs a very simple website. Right now, he's got a landing page and he's got a link to MailChimp, which is fantastic because you can gather emails from that. But we need to get, what we need to create for Scott is a system by which, not Scott, I keep saying that. For some reason, I always screw up names, and I apologize about that. But Brett, we need to get cockfight.org set up so that they can literally create groups of Intactivists within these universities that they're traveling to. Cockfight.org, if you don't know, is a group that I see some very huge opportunities that are not being utilized in Intactivism. One is what we're doing. Two is the outreach to youth. And the best way to do that is probably not to email them or anything like that. I mean, I could try to get social, connects to maybe groups and organizations within universities, like the sociology group or whatever, and they meet on the weekends or something. Maybe that we can get access to them. But beyond that, the most important thing I think is having protests that are actually being carried out in close proximity to universities, college games. And that's exactly what cockfight.org is doing. Cockfight.org is set up not to appeal to us 40, 50, or whatever year old. It's designed to get the youth, okay? And the youth is so important, obviously, because they're the ones that are going to be doing the next cutting. So if we can get the youth involved, and we can start creating groups within these universities where they meet together, and you want to think of any ways that we can maximize our outreach. So I realized if I can get volunteers that can help me with this, if I can create a solid group of really good Intactivists who are dedicated and will literally follow through on sending web forms for me, then I could send way more web forms than I possibly ever could myself. I can create way more databases than I ever could myself. Scott was like with me almost since the beginning and was helping me with gathering the database and creating these databases. Scott has been huge with that. Lee has helped me with, I mean, I don't know if you saw those ones from New York. There's a huge database that we have from New York. We have like 600 doulas and midwives in our New York database. She was huge with that. Michelle helped me with the California doulas and midwives. Sarah helped me with Wisconsin and Missouri doulas, and she helped start to develop those databases. And so all these people have vastly increased my potential outreach, right? Than if I was just doing this by myself. All right. And I realized that. And that's why I do these meetings. That's why I try to get new volunteers. That's why we're doing this. Well, if Brett's organization can get a solid foothold into these universities and get people to, get students who care about this issue, enough to really show up to meetings and really plan protests, then he can start getting protests that are happening when he's not even there. Right. And that's what my goal for cockfight.org is. I mean, cockfight itself is kind of a unique name, right? Like you kind of like cockfight, that's kind of funny, right? You think of, roosters fighting, and it has a negative connotation in itself, but it's actually kind of witty as well. And it appeals to the younger crowd, right? It appeals to the 20-something crowd because psychologically, with the male population, we want to create what I've heard is, we're all different, unique, and nobody's the same. So it's just general. We're talking in general terms. You're always going to, miss the mark on a lot of people. So I don't really like to use general terms, but in general, women are very emotional. And they care about these issues because, they just, they're emotional and they love their babies, right? I mean, what's more powerful than a mother's love for her child, right? So of course women care about this, but men, as far as like connecting with them, it's like not that we want to connect with them emotionally, but we want to give them something to do, something they can do about it, right? A solution. Okay, with men, if they have a solution, they feel like they're empowered, right? So we want to create a solution. So cockfight.org is literally fighting for your cock, right? It's a solution. So it gives men a solution. And so I think it's hugely valuable for that reason, because you're going after the youth, the ones that need to hear it the most. Okay, they're the ones that are, if you understand child psychology and adolescent psychology, Chuck's got to go to work. Thank you, Chuck. Thank you for joining us. I really appreciate you joining us. And it's so great to have you. And I'll contact you personally soon. I'd like to have some conversation with you. Chuck himself has some fantastic ideas. We did talk about those in one of our meetups. And Chuck is, I really want to support what Chuck's doing too. Anyways, so with Brett's organization, I just think
by the way,
Go ahead.
So I'm currently in college right now. So I mean,
yeah. See, having someone like Sim, and you know, you're in college right now. I mean, literally, you know, you're dedicated enough to be here on the phone with us, right? And Sim's, you know, we actually talked on one of these calls. Sim's got a very unique, very powerful story himself. And because Sims comes from an Orthodox Jewish background, if you don't mind me saying that. I'm part Jewish myself. So, so I think it's very valuable for you know, we get a lot of those. One of the common dismissal things is, oh, you're anti-Semitic, right? And we're absolutely not anti-Semitic. We absolutely believe that circumcision itself is anti-Semitic, because you're telling this person right here, this one person doesn't have the right to body autonomy, and that's ludicrous. You're literally singling out a person and saying, because of their because of who they were born, because of the DNA that they have, that they don't have human rights, that they don't have the right to body autonomy, which is literally racist itself, right? It is anti-Semitism to believe that Jewish boys don't have human rights, basic human rights. So anyways, it's very powerful to have, we got to utilize all those avenues to reach out to people. You know, in particular, for lack of a better word, the gay crowd, which Sam is a gay man, and having that influence, because who knows better the experience of a man than a gay man who's intact, right? Like, who knows better than that? Like, I can't imagine a person having better awareness than that, right? So, you know, Sam's story is very powerful, and it's just, and
one of the, sorry, I was just going to say, and one of the, I was just going to say, and one of the connections there is you can, you know, talk with, you know, so many people who are in the LGBT, you know, talking about being able to be yourself and not have other people impose who you are. And so it's like, well, and physically let someone be themselves, let their body be what it's supposed to be, right, rather than trying to change it artificially. You
well,
know,
I mean, let me just throw a little side note out there. Imagine you're a trans, right? And you want to go through SRS, which is sexual reassignment surgery. Okay, well, guess what? If you're circumcised, you're missing a huge portion of your surface area. Okay, and so that surface area is the most valuable part, the most sensitive part. So when SRS happens, a person who's intact is going to have much more ability for that doctor to create the sex organs that this person wants. So when you mutilate that child who then grows up to be trans and wants the SRS, you're literally harming their ability to experience this sex as an SRS person, as a person who's been through a sexual reassignment surgery. So, I mean, in every aspect of this, it's just utterly ridiculous and ludicrous. So we just, anyways, let's see. I think I covered everything I really wanted to cover. Does anybody have any questions for me? Okay. If not, I guess all I have left to say about it or talk about is that I have a new TikTok. So if you guys, and I don't know how to share these things yet, but I do have a new TikTok, which is fantastic. So I'm sending out videos on that. I think I've connected with a few of you on that. And so I'm back on Facebook. We have a new nextlevelintactivism.com with the DOT spelled out. Com is now my new group on Facebook. So you can connect with me there. And then also we have the Next Level Intactivism YouTube channel. And there's tons of our past meetups on those videos. Some of them will have, you know, if you want to like go into see a certain portion of our conversations, I've tried to create what do you call them, timestamps in a lot of those videos, although some of them don't have the timestamps. It's just we can do as much as we possibly can. But anyways, the most important thing for all of us to do is make sure that we're, number one, sending the web forms, because that's the bottleneck, getting those web forms sent out each week. Okay. And, try to commit to, maybe you do 15 minutes, 4 days of the week. Okay. Or whatever it is.
While everyone's here, I'd just like to ask, for those of you who are sending web forms, how's that coming along?
Yeah, does anybody have any questions on that? I know Doug, we're gonna get you on top of that, Doug, so don't worry about any question on that. Do you have any questions, Bentley? I think Bentley's flying on it. I don't think Bentley's has any
Bentley, you doing good on the web form?
Give us a thumbs up if you're good, Bentley. I think she's
you can come
there,
off
Bentley?
the mute, Bentley.
Oh, she's fine.
Bentley, can you hear us?
There she is. We're talking about you, Bentley.
Yeah, I don't think Bentley's paying attention.
Who else is online? Serena's online. I just noticed. Oh, and Mike's on the line. Mike, what's going on, man? Let's see if I can ask you that.
Mike, talk to us.
I don't know if let's see. Mike, you're there. If not, you're with us. Okay. Mike is. I think he's sending web forms too. Did you talk to Mike yet, Scott?
Hey, I'm sorry. Hey, how you doing?
Hey, what's up,
I was
brother?
having problems with the computer earlier. How you guys
No
doing?
worries.
Can you hear me now?
How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I had spent some time on the phone with Scott the other night, and he gave me Oklahoma to start working on.
Yeah, there we go.
Yes.
But I'm
Do you have
doing
any
good.
questions on that? Do you feel comfortable with it?
Does Mike, who has 2 states? You saw it, Danny, you were looking at the list.
Well, I know Bentley has the doulas and midwives from New York, the second.
No, you said that to me earlier. You're like, oh, this guy, somebody, I think, Oklahoma, Kansas. I think somebody has.
Let me just look at. Hold on a second. Let me look. I'm going to share my screen so I can pull this out. Okay, let me see. Who's got? Okay, we've got. Let's see. Serena's on Arkansas. Good work, Serena. Serena's joining us. Serena is she is an amazing human being who saved her son recently and was also strong enough to protect her son from forced retraction. The doctors in Georgia tried to force retract her son, and we talked very strongly. We communicated very strongly on Instagram, and I was able to give her the information that protected her son from forced retraction. So, so happy about that. That's a huge thing, because if you know about forced retraction, it literally damages the genitals of the child. Let's see, who do we have? We have James on Nevada and James on Pennsylvania. James usually is with us, and he hasn't been.
That's the old one. I sent you a more updated little tracker sheet.
Yeah, I know. Okay. But this is we're fine with this. I mean, we know it.
That's good enough.
Okay, we know it. Okay, so anyways, this is the just so you guys know, we're going to start breaking these up into smaller chunks, because I was having Lee send the whole New York database to doulas, and it was just like overwhelming her, and she didn't have enough time. Lee's super busy. She's a nurse, and she's super busy. And so she was getting overwhelmed with that. So we put Bentley on there with her to help her out a lot on that. And then let's see, who else? So yeah, we need to talk. Okay. So anyways, these little mailboxes with the raised thing, that means that email has been delivered to that person. Okay. Oops, how did Jay get here without his name being erased? Sorry, Jay Nelson. We love you, but you're now outed. Okay. Anyways, any questions on this? Okay, so the let's see. I think that's it that I had to talk about today. The main thing is, I was going to finish up with saying, with new volunteers, if you yourself can find a new volunteer that can help us with this. I know you've all gotten that phone call from that really annoying friend who says, hey, you get the phone call from, you're like, oh, I'm super excited. Like, I haven't heard from this person in a long time. And the first thing they say is, I've got a new opportunity for you. And immediately you're like, oh, damn. Now I got to listen to some stupid pitch, or, I got to be rude, or, I got to let them off nicely, but I don't want to sell your acai berries, and I don't want to sell your vacuum cleaners, and I don't want to sell your new thing. But anyways, multi-level marketing does work. People have made millions of dollars off it. It's always the person at the top of the pyramid. Well, the person at the top of this pyramid is a little baby, right? And so that's what we're trying to do this for. There's nobody getting rich off this, right? So think of this as a multi-level marketing plateau. If you're at the top of your pyramid and you get 2 people, those 2 people can get 3 people, those 3 people can get 4 people, and it can start to grow like that. Additionally, every person that you have that is sending these web forms, can literally be responsible for saving thousands of babies. And I mean that as they're planting a seed, okay? The seed will grow in the future, right? And this will grow into something in a lot of these people's minds. It's not going to happen right away, but it will happen. And a lot of these people will be converted right off the bat, okay? And so all we have to do is get this into their inbox. And a lot of these people, maybe 20%, maybe 10%, you know, that's the traditional sales thing. Some of the emails that I was getting sent out to the media, I was getting at least, you know, a 20%, sometimes 30% open ratio. Okay. I sent out one of the articles, things that I sent out. You guys want to see this, right? I just have to brag about this because it's so cool. This was, I'm going to log into my MailChimp account. Make sure it's the right one. But let's see, that's the right one. Okay, so these were the Pennsylvania media. Okay, when prior to the doulas and prior to the Bloodstained Men showing up. Okay, now when we started running the campaign, okay, I made this email right here, and this email was read by like over 500 people. Okay, and I was stroking the ego of the media outlet. A lot of the things I do are little psychological manipulations, not manipulations. They're utilizing people's psychology to influence them in a way that is positive for them, right? Helping them to see the truth of this issue, okay? Helping to break down those barriers that they have to knowledge, okay? So that's what I consider this. It's not really psychological manipulation, but it is a way of okay. These are, let me go back. This is copy number 2. This was 79 opens. I'm trying, sometimes they changed this recently on me, so I got to figure it out. Okay, let me go to campaigns. Give me 1 second. All campaigns. I'll show you this. I can prove everything I'm talking to you guys about. 448 opens. Okay, 448 opens. 26.9% open ratio. Okay, none of these people signed on to have my email sent to them. None of them. Okay, this is a fantastic open ratio. Okay, and then this is the follow-up email, which means those who didn't open this got another email. And out of the other ones that opened up, we got another 79 additionally. Another 79, almost 80 email opens, right? So these are, let me just view the report. I'm going to show you who's opening these emails. Okay, this is no joke, guys. And I would say, who else is out there getting these types of people to read these articles? That's what I'm saying. I know there's a lot of very valuable organizations out there, but we need them to start to upgrade their outreach. We need them reaching out to people who are not just Intactivists. And it's great to have Intactivists communicating and sharing and all that kind of stuff, but we need outreach. And this was, okay, these are who opened it, right? Okay, and I want you to look at these names in the emails, okay, who these people are. Okay, republicanherald.com. Okay, me, I opened it. That's me, Daniel, Next Level Intactivism. Kurtztownlive.edu, editor at thisweek.net, the Corey Journal, the Courier Express. This is somebody, TNP Marketing at a Gmail account, right? Okay. Weekly Sentinel, My Weekly Sentinel, the Bedford Gazelle. Did I say that right? Bedford Gazelle. Okay. The Bedford Gazelle, someplace in Pennsylvania. It's a media outlet in Pennsylvania. Some of these are small. Citizens Voice, Fox.com, CBS3.com, thecoreyjournal.com. Okay. What? Like, come on, guys. This is it, right? Like, this is so powerful. I want to try to open up the email. I'm going to show you what they read. This email, the view email, here it is. Okay, so here's the actual email itself. Okay, Pennsylvania reporters and media outlets break the taboo to protect babies. Okay, what did I do? I just reached out and I stroked their ego, right? And now the reporters are like, what? Who breaks a taboo? Who did what? Who wrote what? Okay, now look at this. Okay, Bloodstained Men comes to Pennsylvania. You've got a picture right there. Okay, Pennsylvania reporters step up to the plate for the truth nature and harm of genital cutting of children in the USA. It's taboo to even talk about it. Men don't want to admit it. Ladies don't want to believe their men were damaged. Mothers don't want to admit they failed to do their research and failed to protect their baby. Doctors don't want to admit their negligence, lack of education, and what disgusting, horrible things they do to a child for money. If you haven't seen one, watch this absolutely barbaric torture of a child, which is a video of it you don't want to watch. This is a legal thing. This is legal.
Hey, what if we did start sending out videos like that?
This was. Yeah, we will. We will. We absolutely will. This is just the beginning, guys. Remember, this is the tip of the iceberg of what we're going to do. This is just the start, right? This should give you so much excitement, so much hope. This should be so hopeful for you. This was read by almost 500 people and over 500 people, media people of influence. Okay. We tell ourselves the lies we tell about circumcision: lie, cleaner, try shower, it's dirty and ooey, medical benefits, women prefer, everyone does it, match daddy, no effect on sensation, no effect on women. Now look at these powerful images. Circumcision is a ripoff. Read the only histology study of tissue report on the male human prepuce. Oh, by the way, Foreskin is now doing they're redoing a very detailed and very complex histology study of the human foreskin. So we will soon have another histology report. If you don't know what histology is, it's the study of tissue. Okay, so if you're a doctor and you don't know if you haven't read the histology study of the foreskin, you have absolutely no fucking clue about the anatomy, structure, and function of the male genitals, which is absolutely mind-blowing. And we literally have thousands upon thousands upon thousands of doctors all over the world who don't even know, doctors with this body part who still don't even know, right? Okay, so these images are disturbing. If you think these images are disturbing to you, good, this means you're a decent person. Think of what the child is going through. Okay, 12 media articles and counting. This is before we had 20. Okay, this was all the articles published, right? So these are the articles. This goes out to Pennsylvania media to stroke the ego of the Pennsylvania media. This is my little kind of like my jib, right? To embarrass the reporters that publish ridiculous articles, right? We had two of them that were kind of ridiculous. One of them, it just had some really weird wording in the title. And then in the article itself was actually pretty damn decent. And so that was unique. And I'll show you that. So some cultural bias still show through and are embarrassing reminders of our child genital cutting culture's brainwashing. But I think even
sorry, I was just gonna say it's one of the reasons why I think it's so important, like those of us that are intact speak up, because like one of those lies that people think is they're like, well, every guy that I knew that wasn't circumcised wished he was, and it's like right here, no, absolutely not. So that's one of the things, my husband and I like to be like, nope, we're very happy we're not, and we've never had we don't have problems either, and that's why, like, lately one of the things I've been talking about a lot is trying to get people to realize that a lot of these things are because of how they've been immersed in this culture, and that all of this worry, like one of the things I've talked about is even Intactivists, I'm sure you've all seen online, there's this obsessive worry. I mean, they've done the right thing and they've left their children intact, but they worry about every little thing. And it's like I try to bring awareness to them that, in countries that don't practice circumcision, like Peru, they don't worry about it. Like I keep going down to Peru, visiting my husband, everybody goes, and all the guys there, have their foreskin, go down, swim in the river. No one's like, oh, is their foreskin going to get infection? Da, 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 da. It's like, they don't even, it's not singled out at the word. It's not even a question. It's not even a question. Whereas here, people are constantly like, well, after the beach, it's a little red. What should I do? And this isn't to make fun of people, but it's like they've been so traumatized, if you want to think of it that way, conditioned, yes, to think every slight whatever could be a problem, because they've been brainwashed into this idea that foreskins cause problems, and that's what I'm trying to get. It's like people there, like mothers in Peru don't even, nobody there, like I know I've mentioned this before and you've probably heard me say it, but like when I've talked to my husband about this, well, when did you first become retractable? He's like, I don't really remember. Maybe around 13, maybe, you know, but it's like no one feels the need to, oh, we need to explain, oh, one day you'll become retractable, or oh, this, you know, it's like it's not even a thing. It's like they have to be like, when I became what? You know, it's like you have to, it's just because
far
that's
harder
what,
to brush your teeth.
Yeah,
it's far harder to brush your teeth than it is to clean your penis.
You know, like as he always says, it's like it's just natural. It happens when it happens, you know, kind of thing.
Right.
And they don't worry about it. And that's one of the things people have been conditioned to worry about it.
I mean, could you imagine females worrying, oh my God, my daughter's vagina is going to get infected? I mean, seriously, you know, like that's just ludicrous. And it really is cultural conditioning. I mean, and this is what I was talking about here is like, I think that even bad press is good press. And this is why, like, this guy does the penis protest. And this was fantastic for me because I got to respond to this guy. He did this file. I'll show you the website, the article here. And this guy supposedly, you know, if you go on he's a supposedly well-known reporter, right? And he comes out and he writes this ridiculous, the penis protest. Okay. And he says, it seems that this all started with whether an athlete can kneel down during the anthem. We moved into statues coming down, and now the protest against that. Soon we moved into protesting against people wearing masks. Then it was protesting a vaccine. Now we are here. Okay, so it's very dismissive. Stay tuned, and we will find the next thing to be protested. I'm sorry, but this is the most important protest you could possibly protest in the United States of America right now. This is harming our entire society. The men that have had this done to them are damaged, and no matter what, you have a different mentality, you have a different way of thinking. I lived in Germany for 3 years, and you know, I attributed a lot of their differences to culture, especially when I took sociology. But there's a big difference in the aggressiveness and the energy and the anger of men from America to Europe. The Europeans are just so much more relaxed. They're so much more just like, it's almost like nothing's bothering them. But Americans almost seem to have this constant angst, this constant, you know, and I have it, like I've had it all my life. I've always had these aggressive, like this anger issue. Like this literally pisses me off. So, you know, now I have a reason to understand why I was, you know, mad at just for nothing. I'm like, I wasn't beat. My dad didn't haul off and punch me like a man. You know, he would like do things, you know, because he had very big anger issues. Like he had this ring from West Point. He's a West Point graduate. I don't know if you're about West Point, but he was an Army officer. And so he would hit me on the head with this ring, and that shit hurt. But that was like the worst he's ever done to me. You know, like my dad was not, he did really good for me. You know, like I love my dad. He's a fantastic human being. And, but, you know, like he had these aggressive problems. He had this anger issue, and I had it. I thought, oh, I just got it from my dad. No, I didn't get it from my dad. I got it from the same thing that happened to my dad. I have the same issue that my dad had. Like, this is not something that's trivial, that's inconsequential, that you can just slough off and just pretend, oh, it's just a flap of skin, or it's inconsequential. This is one of the biggest psychological harms in our society. And our society is different because of this. The anger that men have, you know, I mean, as far as, I mean, I know this has a huge effect on divorce rates in America, because number one, the women aren't getting the pleasure that they would normally get. Okay. So you talk about a family with children and a male and a female, the woman's not as sexually satisfied as she would be. In fact, they say that 70% of American women can't even have a vaginal orgasm. The men themselves are psychologically damaged, so they're less likely to connect with the woman. You're removing the part that literally creates this emotional, you know, bond, this very strong emotional bond that happens during sexual intercourse with an intact man and an intact woman. You're damaging that bond. How can that not be, you know, have vast consequences far beyond me not having the quality of orgasm that I would have had, right? Just, you know, if I'm just, you know, woe is me, I have this, you know, genital mutilation happen to me, woe is me, you know, that's not the real issue, in my opinion. The real issue is the psychological damage and how it influences the connection with your partner, the connection with the, you know, whoever you're making love to. You know, that's really where this comes into play. And I'm talking like higher divorce rates, children being raised without their fathers, difficulties with families staying together, more aggressive parenting, which meaning the child may get additional trauma because of the trauma that the male's been through. So, what about sexual abuse, right? You talking about men that don't have complete sexual satisfaction, okay? The complete feeling of satisfaction of that sex would give to them if they had all their body parts. Think about that. If you're a male and you live your entire life with a drastically lowered sexual completeness, right? That influences your life, everything that you experience in your life, right? So anyways,
it is what? It is health. Yeah, okay.
I'm gonna mute Bentley real quick. She was talking to somebody. Okay. So anyways, so you can see, so I wrote to this and I said, decent parents will see through the insecurities and biases of the reporters, right? Hey, Scott Jones, genital mutilation, torture, and sexual assaulting children is more than a legit reason to protest. Sorry you're in such a state of denial, underline. This is the type of gaslighting you often get from such men, scared to acknowledge the reality they live in. Watch a video of the circumcision, aka genital mutilation of the child. Watch a video on Sorrell's fine touch sensitivity testing. Read the website, Sex as Nature Intended. Read Harvard's research on ACEs, and then you will see that this issue is far from trivial. Its repercussions and harms have literally changed the society we have become. We live in a different world because of this. This creates sexual and psychological harms that influences our entire society. Okay, here's another one. This is actually, I wrote this in here, this is actually a well-written article, but Pomp and Circumcision group makes spectacle of itself across Pennsylvania protesting foreskin theft, right? You can read this as a very dismissive title. Pomp, what does pomp means? It means like a pompous kind of attitude, like you're pomp, like fully yourself kind of bullshit, right? Spectacle. You don't want to make a spectacle about yourself, right? You want to communicate, you want to show people, you want to reach out and you want to communicate, you want to educate. We're not trying to be a spectacle, but it is kind of a spectacle, and I'm, of the bloodstained suit, but that's just to get, people to pay attention to it. So why this article was decently written well, why the actual article was written decently well, the minimizing language displays a cultural bias of the reporter that higher level education should have prevented, right? It's just a jib, it's kind of a jab, right? So I'm associating, these are supposed to be educated people who should be able to see through these cultural biases, right? That's kind of like what I'm making. It's not pomp to fight against sexual assaulting children with pliers and knives. The brave protesters of BSM are not making a spectacle of themselves. They are raising awareness of the largest medical fraud in human history that harms children, right? They buck social norms that harm society's taboo to even discuss this issue. These protesters weather the insults, the jeers, and even the possibility of violence, all to protect children for absolutely no personal benefit. These protesters are heroes, and I stand by that statement. One day their names will be sung by the intact children of America. This will end America. It must end. We will end it for our children. And we got Brother K with a child that, because of Brother K's outreach, was saved. Okay? And look at that. Look at Brother K's face. I mean, like, it says it all, right? Like, this is a child that you saved, you're holding in your arms, right? How much satisfaction can you get from life? I don't think you can get more satisfaction than this. This gentleman, James, in the back here, was very pro circumcision. His wife is a nurse, and she is was very against it, and they literally almost came to divorce with this issue. It took that for James himself to really do his research, and now look at him. His son is intact, and he's protesting with the Bloodstained Men. That's how powerful this is. Okay, anyways. So BSM protests today, tomorrow, and the next day, and the next, and the next. BSM is not done yet, and then I include the 5 next days of their tour. So this email was read by 500 people, right? And I wanted to show you guys this. I wanted to use this to motivate you, because this is how powerful this is, guys. This is what, doing this could literally end, and I'm not saying that lightly, could literally be the solution to end male genital mutilation in our culture. This literally could be the linchpin that blows the grenade inside of these reporters' offices, these midwives and doulas offices. And this is just the start of the pyramid, because, like I said, we're gonna a couple of things that I wanted to mention is we're gonna create a whole education system once I'm on top of these things, and as we get into to the campaign number 2, I'll be writing a lot about the anatomy, structure, and function. During that part of the campaign, we're literally going to be creating the pieces and partials that go into a whole doulas and midwives educational certification that will be literally free to doulas and midwives. And I don't know if you guys know anything about certification agencies or things like that, but you know, I was a personal trainer for 20 years and I did high level type of stuff. I did orthopedic rehab and all that stuff. But one of the things that all personal trainers and people that have these certifications have to do is what's called CEUs, or continuing education units. So you have to go and you have to research a couple of different things in order. So every 2 years, my certification would come up to become recertified, and I'd have to show them that I completed these higher level education courses to keep me certified and to keep my certification current, right? So that was every 2 years. I did that like 10 different times because I was in there for 20 years, right? So I did that over 10 different times, and I'd have to go pay these organizations to give me CEUs. But what I hope to do is I hope to create a free CEUs for doulas and midwives. So all you have to do is join and jump in there, fill out our, fill out their request form to join the course. They'll be allowed to join the course. And then what'll happen in the course is at the end of each session, they'll have a series of questionnaires. They answer the questionnaires. If they answer, 75% or higher correct, they're going to get a certification from us. And then they're going to be able to claim CEUs for their re-education or recertification process. Hopefully, we have to create relationships with the doulas and midwives organizations in order for them to give us the ability to give credit to CEUs. We probably have some nurses and doulas and midwives who are going to be involved in this process and will themselves help us with with getting certified through those agencies. But regardless, those doulas and midwives that finish our intact friendly education certification, we'll say like intact friendly IFC. We'll say they can put IFC next to their name, intact friendly certification. We're going to put them on a list of doulas and midwives that are educated, so that mothers who are looking for doulas and midwives who can protect their children, who can advocate against the doctors, who can take that pressure off the mothers, about this issue, and maybe even educate the doctors themselves. Do you see where this is going? It's a huge potential for just opening up a whole new avenue of approach to educating these doulas and midwives and giving them and actually literally helping them with their marketing and saying, look, I'm an intact friendly doula. If you're dealing with doctors, because I mean, think of, if you're a mother, right, and you're an intact, aware, educated mother, you don't want to sit there and have to take, what did Intact America say that they were doing, like an average of 8 different no's? That the doctors and nurses would approach the mothers 8 different times to circumcise their child, okay? And then some of them are actually doing this without even asking them, right? And they're having, oh, here, sign this form. They're not even telling them, right? And then they just wheel their child away to be cut. Well, a doula and midwife who's educated in this we'll expect them to be advocates. That means that they're going to advocate for their patient, which is the child. Okay. So just imagine if we had 400 or 500 intact friendly doulas certifications out there. You know what I'm saying? How much repeated over and over and over again that doula can sit down with these mothers and educate these mothers and can broach these subjects with the mothers, can protect the mothers from the doctors, can be the like the block and say, no, this child will not be generally cut, it will not contribute to your Tesla payment, will not contribute to your bottom dollar. You're not going to be able to take this child's genitals and make grow cells in a petri dish to sell for $300 a pop, right? So that's that's a huge thing. So anyways, that's where we're going with this, and I want you guys to be aware of that. So this is extremely powerful, extremely influential, and anybody that does this with us, you will literally be responsible for saving thousands of babies, okay, just because we do this. I want to open up new midwives and doula databases. I think that's really probably the most bang for our buck we can possibly get. We have 10 media outlets for the different states. Whenever the Bloodstained Men are going on tour, we are going to be activated, which means we will be doing phone calls, we will be sending emails, we'll be sending web forms to get the same responses. the 2 times that we've done this, the Southern College Tour, we got 15 emails or published articles. This last one with the Pennsylvania media, we got 20 articles published. So Bloodstained Men announced that they're going to do 4 tours next year, and we want to make sure that we continue this to get new articles printed, because I think as far as the media outreach, that in itself has a huge potential as well, because we can literally break the taboo in the culture, because 20 articles got printed in Pennsylvania media just because we were doing this, right? So anyways, anybody have any questions?
Yeah, Danny, hey.
Go ahead,
Danny.
Mike.
No, it's not Mike.
Mike raised his hand. Let Mike talk real quick, Scott.
Okay.
Yeah,
go ahead,
go
Mike.
for it, Mike. Let's hear it.
I just wanted to say one thing. I'll tell you, and I haven't really been involved just directly in the Intactivist movement for very long, but my weekend with Brother K in Philadelphia for Saturday and Sunday in Springfield and in southwest, northeast Philly. I mean, it was just such a powerful experience. It really was.
Right.
And I think I really feel like I made the most difference there so far. But I'm looking forward to being involved in the next Level Intactivists too, and getting involved.
Awesome.
So it's all new to
Mike,
me. Just amazing how powerful that experience was.
That is when you protest and you're on the street corner, there's just something about it. I mean, you just get a feeling. You know, I mean, I had that same feeling literally at the end of this when I did this, when I just started. Every time I Googled and I saw a new article published, and I was just like, wow, here's another one. And then another one, and then another one. I mean, there's no feeling better than that in the world. You could make me a billionaire. I could have my own jet, fly all over the country. That wouldn't make me feel as good as getting those articles published. There's just a sense of satisfaction and that you can't get. And I know doing protests on the street is gives you that same feeling. You know what I mean? You really feel like you're accomplishing something, you're doing something. And I want you guys to know, because, you know, like doing oh, wow, look at that.
I made up my own signs, and I made up my own Bloodstained Men uniform and everything. It was amazing.
Right on.
And I had the whole suit on. It was a great experience.
Mike,
it was about a dozen of us. We're all dressed up.
You're the hero I was talking about right here. I said, I'm serious. I'm not lying.
I have a whole set of signs made up. And I got printed at Vistaprint, actually, on Bloodstained Men's site.
Yeah, they have a whole system that's designed to help you create your own video or your own protest signs. That's fantastic. Mike, where are you at? Where are you located at?
Connecticut.
Hartford. That's awesome.
Yeah, actually, Brother K said they're moving up to the Northeast sometime next year, and also to the Southwest. I was hoping to join them in the Southwest because he said that I could actually join in for half of the tour, which is probably like 10 days.
That is fantastic. And so we're gonna keep this going for the Bloodstained Men. I think this is the as far as the outreach that we can do, this is huge. I think the doulas and midwife outreach is huge. If we can create that doula certification, that will be huge. I mean, all these things are coming together. I know it's a little bit slower than I would like to have this stuff done. You know, like we had plans to have this stuff done sooner. But it's like, now, I mean, thank God Scott's helped me, because Scott has taken a huge pressure off me, because now Scott's making sure that everybody's on target, everybody's on board. That's huge, because I was trying to do this all, write the campaigns, send them out, gather the database, because, we have to gather the database. We have to, unless we have people that's helping me, it's all me, right? So, and I was doing this pretty much all on my own for a little bit of time until Scott jumped in and started helping me. And then once Scott jumped in and started helping me, it's kind of helped me now that we're growing. And now we've got a lot more people that's really joining us and helping us with this. But yeah, we're gonna be able to, if you can't be on the tour with Bloodstained Men, oh, that's so true.
This is my favorite.
Yeah, I love that one.
That's where they belong.
I love that one. Right? That's one of my favorite ones.
That's where they belong.
And they literally do. It's literally a violent sexual assault on a child, which there's no justification. It's so enraging and ludicrous that humans think that this is somewhat somehow right to do to a child. It's just mind-boggling, but it is what our culture does, and that's why we have to do this. Anyways, showing up to these meetings, Mike, have you guys contacted each other? Has Scott got you on target?
Yeah, we spent a bit of time on the phone on Saturday night, and he got me started. I got all the information. I started on the training, and should have it done, I think, by the end of next week. At the end of this week, I mean.
Okay. You're doing Oklahoma?
My Oklahoma responsibility should be done by the end of the week.
Yes, that's huge. Have you sent out a few already?
Yeah, actually, I've sent out a couple. I went through the training and everything so far.
It's all not that hard, right?
No,
really
it's not
easy.
hard.
I mean, it's so easy. It's so easy to do. It's. I mean, it's not as exciting as doing a protest. I'll admit that. But
it's all very beneficial, though.
It's effective though. You reach more people. It's better.
Yes. No, you'll reach a lot of people this way. And the other thing I was going to say is we will once we start getting into so there's 3 phases. Phase 1 is gather the database. Phase 2 is send out the web forms and the emails. And phase 3 is tele-intactivism phone calls, where we actually follow up and we do a survey using the open-ended questions to get these people to talk to us and see how this survey influenced them or affected them. If there's something that stuck out, or if there's things that we can do better. And we will literally, if we, the way I view things is that you no matter what you're doing, no matter what aspect of intactivism you're doing, you need to put your ego in your pocket. Okay, you need to not make this about you. And I know it's not for all of us. But what I'm saying is, I'm writing these campaigns, and I'm doing the best that I can. But I have to be open to modifying these campaigns, adjusting them, making them better, and that includes all of you guys. If you guys, feel like there's a way to make any of these campaigns better, to write the subject better, so we get better open rates, to anything. We are open to constructive criticism all times.
Daniel, that's what I want to talk to you about.
Go ahead, Scott.
I want to help you make more or expand the list of the doulas, the midwives, the nurses, doctors who would be on our side. I think that you said that's such a high value target, more than reporters. I want to help a lot with that, and I want to help you.
That's fantastic.
So, and also, hey, look, I can write articles like the ones that you're writing. Sure. We can bounce them back and forth and save you some time. Because then, like I said, you're only one man, right? So you need some help here.
Yeah, of course.
We need more databases because, like so.
Well, I think as far as
for Maryland, because he lives there, so I'd like to be able to just give him one for Maryland, and we don't have one, and I will be willing to make it. So how about we get something like that on there too? I
mean, we got to be careful with opening up new stuff until we've literally. I mean, and we're doing it. It looks to me like we're doing this. Like Scott says to me, "Hey, I've almost got everything covered. The only one he doesn't have covered right now is the parenting groups." And so if Sam wanted to jump on that, if you'd like Sam,
if I don't get Sam the parenting group, then I'll do it myself.
I mean, if you wanted to, Sam, if you're interested, I don't expect anything, but if you're interested,
he's still there. Okay,
I'm still here. Yeah.
Is he on the? Are you Sam? Are you on the little? What's that thing? That spreadsheet thing on Google Docs? His information.
I don't think he is. I don't think Sam's on there.
I don't know about all the documentation stuff. I have not.
Well, we had like
first time seeing this.
Okay,
yeah, so Sam's never even heard this before.
And we have I mean, I need the contact list to know your email or call you. So that's all. I just see if I can look you up on there.
I'm going to talk to Sam later on and see where he's at. I don't know. I mean, he's doing a lot of things, so we'll see. If we'll talk about that later. I don't want to put pressure on somebody.
Okay. And another thing is,
I definitely would like to do something, but I want to kind of start out slow so I don't get overwhelmed and be like, hey, I don't have time. I want to just do. Slow and steady wins the race rather than try to take on too much. So I'll get with you later. Just send me a message and we can talk one-on-one and kind of get where best to start.
Yeah, Daniel, if you can get me connected with Sam, I'll talk to him.
One thing I also wanted to say when you were talking earlier about the like the doulas or doctors and nurses, I think one thing being that you know, because I'm in the healthcare field myself, and I think one way to kind of, because I know one of the things people talk about a lot is, you know, the money that they get from circumcision and things like that. And right. I was gonna say, just like the doctors and stuff that I know, I mean, especially ones that are going to be honest. Like I work in the cancer field, and everything is data driven, you know. So like if you were to like really push with, you know, like that's old, outdated information, you know, kind of, you know, oh, new studies have, you know, have shown this or whatever, you know, sometimes medical professionals will be more open to, hey, this is something new information, as opposed to,
that's a good point,
as opposed to, well, you're just greedy for money. Because I mean, often, because I'm just going to say, like, for example, a nurse that's working for a hospital, or a doctor even who doesn't have his own practice but works for a hospital, you know, it's like they're not necessarily making money on
additional money,
additional money for doing things that are part of their job. But if they can say, hey, these studies are proving that this is not best for the patient, someone who really has the best for their patients at heart is going to respond to, hey, there's this new study, or oh, there's this new information, that they will be more receptive to that. I mean, unless they're just a you know, an unethical human being, then, you know, that's not going to work. But if they're honest,
that's a really good point.
When we start putting that out, that'll separate the doctors who are ethical from the ones
Sam,
who are not.
I would love for you to read our campaigns and like just kind of give me edit, or like help me with improving them. Like, you know, any advice you give, I would really appreciate, because having that background, you know, in that awareness of the cultural influence of how to, that's a really good point. Like, you made a really good point. So and that's the thing is, and writing these campaigns and doing this type of stuff, we're not out there like going at somebody, right? I mean, kind of a little bit, you know, like in this email, I kind of go at a little bit of a reporter, but I mean, we're not really going at somebody, right? We're not really like, hey, you're, you know, a piece of shit. Really, we're trying to connect, for instance, FGM to MGM, and the process of connecting them happens slowly, right? So we say, you know, Nargawala's getting away with this. Nargawala got away with this. Then we say this is psychologically harming to the females. No one's questioning, no one's doubting that, right? But then when they acknowledge number 1 and number 2 emails, then it draws them into 3 and 4, you know, and 3, you know, where you go over, hey, that there's a lot of different types of it. In fact, there's many that are less severe than what we're doing. And I don't really say that in the email, but if you read the email, it kind of leads you that way. And the emails, that they're written in a way to limit, or to just basically obliterate that separation that you read. When you read an FGM, an anti-FGM article, you know, one of the first things they'll say is, oh, this is nothing like MGM, circumcision, which is actually beneficial and has health benefits, right? That's one of the biggest disclaimers they put in there. And that's, you know, it's one of the biggest lies, of course. But,
you know, sorry, I was just gonna say, one of the things that I've seen is like people in the United States especially are so like they're pretty ignorant about cultures outside of, you know, and that's one of the things that I've been talking more and more about lately is, you know, like, for example, in Peru, you know, where my husband is from, the idea, you know, you mentioned circumcision, you know, for a guy, I mean, they would have the same horror that people in the United States have if you mention female circumcision. I don't think there's not too many people in the United States. I mean, there's some, but most people in the United States, you mention female circumcision, they're all horrified by it. Oh, it's horrible. It's horrible.
Right.
Well, you know, people in you know, in other countries like Peru, you know, male circumcision, you know, like when I was telling my husband how common circumcision was here in the United States, you know, and he was not even too aware of what all was removed. And so I was explaining what all is involved in, male circumcision and how common it is. And he was just like kind of, kind of leaned over and kind of grabbed, kind of like the idea if one guy gets kicked in the nuts, every guy around is like, oh, it was kind of like what was like his gut reaction to like, and he was just like, why? It was just this,
right.
This, that's the gut reaction he had to circumcision for a guy, being described, because it's not part of the culture. So they see it with the same horror that people in the United States do see with, female circumcision, but people in the United States don't seem to kind of, they'll talk about how horrible I've seen articles where they'll talk about how horrible female circumcision is. In the same article, they'll be like, unlike male circumcision. I'm like, really?
Right.
It's totally, they just can't see it's the same thing,
Well, that's why, that's the whole point of and that really highlights why we chose the FGM to MGM campaign first. I didn't start out with anatomy, structure, and function. I didn't start off with, sending them, the history, or I wanted to catch their initial normal human, because that's a normal human reaction to this, right? When you go to Somalia, it's the same thing. They think it's just normal for them, right? But we just think it's so horrible and so crazy. But every culture that doesn't do this, their natural reaction to this, like, I've always used the analogy, take a 5-year-old and show it to them. And how that 5-year-old reacts is how every human being should react, right? Because that child doesn't have the brainwashing, right?
Yeah.
And that child's going to be authentic.
Like I was saying, anybody in Peru, they'd be like, why would you do that? Like, why? They just, that would be the question, would be like, why would you even think of such a horrible thing? Would be the gut reaction, that would be their gut reaction. They wouldn't be like, oh yeah, but it'd be like, no, they'd be like, why?
It's horrible. So, it's literally it's embarrassing. I'm embarrassed that people that are doctors in my culture do this. I'm embarrassed that I even have to talk to you, that I even have to do this. Like, this is embarrassing to go to another culture and be like, yeah, I'm from a genital mutilating culture. You know what I mean? Like, that's literally the way I look at it now. Like, yeah,
it's shameful. It is shameful. And when we're finally past it, we're going to see it. I do want to know, can we build like within a database within for in-tech friendly medical people, really get that going within the medical community? That would be great. I want to hit that up. And and I'll send out web forms to them myself if we don't have anyone else. That's cool. I'll do it. It's fine. I want to help. I need some help building it.
I don't think you're gonna find that many. You have to, what you're talking about is you literally have to create a database of large numbers of, whatever. Are you going to target nurses? Or, to me, Scott, it would be better for you to open up a new state in the doulas and midwives section than it would be for you to go after nurses, because the nurses are hard targets. The doctors are hard targets. That's what, I've heard that before. They're hard targets. They're hard to convince. They're hard, you have to do backflips in order to get them to, you're literally taught. It's like going to a cutter mother and trying to get her to switch her position. It's just very difficult because she's already cut. And a lot of these doctors, they don't want to be questioned. They think they're the bee's knees, and they're so intelligent. Right. And they're so much smarter than the rest of the population.
What about the ones who don't, though?
Well, if you could find a whole list of them and put them in a database, let's do it. I'm just saying.
Yeah, trying to start it from within. I need connections for that, but once we get that contact.
Well, my point is where would you find that list?
Yeah, that's I don't know. I think we need people who are.
Well, I don't know any doctors that are running Intactivist websites, or Facebook.
Well, yeah, you do. Wait a minute. Now there's doctors opposing.
There's doctors opposing circumcision, but
Mark Reese, right? You know him. I know him too, kind of. I talked to him before.
I know there's that one doctor in Michigan that's written some great research articles. I can't remember his name though, but he's had a lot of articles.
That's what I'm saying, Scott. You want to outreach to people that are not on board with us, because the people that are already on board with us,
I wasn't trying to say the ones who don't. No, I was trying to talk about the ones who already agree with us, not the ones who don't.
Why would you waste your time doing that? They already agree with us. We need to outreach to people
because they have influence in the medical community, and they talk to the doctors, and the parents. That's why.
I mean, I get where you're going with this, but I mean, you can talk to doctors opposing circumcision. You're not going to teach him anything, I promise you. Dr. Geisner.
Well, no, I'm not trying to. I think. No, I know they know these things already. I'm trying to get.
They are already doing it. If they're intact friendly, they're probably already doing it to whatever extent they can.
I would hope so.
So to me, it's like, okay, who's the highest value target that we could outreach to? And it's definitely not going after entrenched doctors. It would be way more valuable to go after doulas, because doulas are outside of the medical establishment. They're typically way more open-minded. They're typically way more involved with their patient. They are involved with advising their patient. They're involved with the whole process. So it would be way more valuable to open up, a whole new target audience. And, I mean, for instance, what state would I go after next? I don't know, like
any state.
But Texas or something like that. You could go after.
What might help actually with Texas, because a lot of Mexican immigrants are already coming into Texas. That might be a real good one.
Now you're thinking, Scott. Now you're thinking. See, that's what I'm talking about.
You don't want the Hispanics there, like I was mentioning at the beginning of this conversation. You don't want them getting convinced by the brainwashed people that, hey, this is the American way, do this. Right. No, you want to tell them, no, stand firm. This is something that you guys know better.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe Texas really would be a very, very important state to start sending support to. Yeah.
No, I agree with you, Scott.
Plus, you already have, because people that are Hispanic already have that in their culture, that the only thing you have to fight against is the new lies that they're being told. They didn't grow up being surrounded and inundated with this.
Social conformity too. That's what I see most. That's what I see the most.
Yeah, you have to get them against the
conform.
Yeah.
Yeah. The conforming pressure, we know. Yeah, that's a factor.
Hey, Sim, I got your phone number, don't I? Did I send you an email today or a text today?
You sent me. Is that your new Facebook name?
Yes.
The one that's Harry.
It's Harry Larry.
Okay, I was like, I don't know who that is, but you had all of your logo stuff on it, so I'm like, okay, either it's him or someone that's working with him. So
I had to create that because I had gotten permanently banned from Facebook. And so in order to get around that, I created a new profile, and I had to wait a certain amount of time because they had I had tried to do it many times before, and they kept on shutting me down. I was Hella Matter for a little while, which I love that name, but it got shut down. And then and then I just did Harry Larry recently, and I was like, it freaking worked. It worked with my phone number, my new email, and so I'm on there right now. And so I'm going to try to, I think I learned some valuable lessons getting blocked and permanently blocked, because it really literally affected my ability to reach volunteers. And so me right now, like
in the video, like have this, because then the corp big tech censors.
If they're going through this video to hear this and they're parsing this out through some advanced AI, then beyond that's fantastic. If they're going to that level to remove me off Facebook, I mean, this is not going to go on Facebook. It's going to go on YouTube. So if they're going to that level, right? I mean, they could, but whatever. I mean,
I say just cover your bases. Good OPSEC.
Yeah. We're good though.
Yeah. But anyways, send me a message if I don't get. But
right.
Give me a call and I'll send you my phone number if you don't already have it. I don't know if you do or not, but
I do not. But you can send that to each other on.
Because I'd always like to find some niche or whatever that I could of people that I could particularly reach, or something where I could be influential. Would always be is always a dream to find, okay, who can I get
well, here,
to,
Sam,
you know,
I'll give you one because you already have a very powerful voice. Is that LGBTQ community?
Yeah.
We could literally like, okay, so here's the deal with starting a new database, right? We already have these large numbers of databases, right? If we just start gathering more data and gathering more data, but we don't have follow-up on the data that we've already collected, we're just gathering data for no reason. It's just a waste of time. Okay, so unless we are really consistently reaching out to these people and communicating with the data that we already have, it's pointless to start opening up new fields until we have these covered, right? So that's my kind of a position on this right now. Not that I wouldn't want to. Now, if someone said to me, because what it would take for someone to do this is they would have to learn how to do the database. They would have to do the database. They would have to write the specific campaigns, and they would have to follow through with that. Okay. So here's what somebody would need. They would need probably, well, first off, I would need some sort of person that say, look, I want to manage this. I'm going to take it over. This is my target audience that I really care about. I really want to target. So that's why I said earlier about if I had a Christian intactivist, if I had a Jewish intactivist, if I had a Muslim intactivist, if I had a, an actual doula and midwife. I think Lee was a doula for a little while. That's why she started the doulas in New York, right? So Lee kind of literally started the doulas of New York herself and went and gathered a huge number of database, and now we're sending to them. So Lee literally created her own system, right? And she's responsible for us to have this on her page right now. So, and then I got into the California database, and Michelle, who was, had some very difficult things going through recently, and that's why she's not with us right now. But she got started on the California doulas and literally like took us in this whole new direction. So what I encourage is if somebody says, I want to be a leader, I have enough time that I can commit to something like this. I really want to have an influence. What I can do is set that person up with a turnkey system that I can teach to them, that they can literally redo what we're doing here and literally create their own outreach program, their own system. And they could, and I'll try to find volunteers for you. I don't think this is a zero-sum game where, if I take you away from this, then you can stop this, right? What I see is, hey, if I get someone like you, Sam, that said, hey, I really want to take over, I really want to reach out to the LGBT community, what I could see is, hey, we could get you volunteers who are then helping you develop the database, who are then helping you, send the web forms, who are then helping you do the Intactivism phone calls at phase 3. And that literally process could run and create its own system, right? And then you could take that and run with it, right? You could create the databases. I'll guide you. I'll create a database for you that you can utilize on Google Docs. You can share this. You can educate the people that are volunteering for you. I can help you get volunteers. We can all work on this together, and we can build the process. But again, what we're looking for when we're trying to do this is we're looking for somebody that's dedicated, motivated, educated, or willing to be educated, and committed to follow through, right? Because the last thing I want to do is spend 20 hours teaching somebody a program that they say 2 weeks later, I'm just so busy, I can't do this. Because what did you take me away from? I could have been sending web forms that whole time. I could have been making phone calls. I could have been doing something. So you literally stopped me from saving babies, right? But if I know that I can take this time that I give to this person, and this person is going to take this and multiply what I'm doing, my outreach potential, and I can influence that person to become more effective and efficient and reach a larger audience themselves by giving them a turnkey system that's already been proven to work. I mean, that vastly increases my potential, right? Whatever you do, I feel like I helped you do, right? Like I'm partly responsible for that. I was able to plant that seed in you to allow you to do all this great work. And then you could do the same. Like you find another volunteer, and that person can then vastly outreach your potential, right? So what I'm looking for is literally managers, or, I wouldn't even call it a manager, but like coordinators of various target audiences. This is unlimited. The potential of this is unlimited. We're not going to run out of people that we can gather their contact information and start sending campaigns to. This is extremely powerful. It's only limited by the number of people we can get to commit to it. And that's all it's limited by. It's a system that's easier to reproduce. I can teach it to anybody. We can create a specific database for your target audience. I can show you how to find, there's for instance, for universities, I had a guy that was going to do universities. for a little while, and he was going to outreach to all these university groups. Well, he ended up not doing it, but I went and I gathered all this data, and I found all these like websites that have a bunch of universities listed, right? So you have these websites that have databases within the data that have their own databases within them. For instance, there's large numbers of doula organizations and parenting organizations that have certified people that they have databases for. So the DONA, or I think it's the International DONA organization, they have this. I have this whole list that if somebody wanted to jump on there, they could literally just pull one of those websites out, gather all the contact information from that database, and literally target that database, right? And it's so easy.
Hey, so let's get someone doing that.
Well, I mean, right now we need to make sure. Scott, Scott, slow down. Scott gets excited. We have to make sure that we're sending to what we have. If we just start gathering new databases and start throwing them in the pile, and we're not making sure that we're effectively communicating with those databases, it's just a waste of time. So we're not doing anything effective and efficient. We need to make sure that we're effective and efficient. Effective being the number one thing, and efficient being the second thing. If we're not effective with what we're doing, we've got this huge numbers of databases already. I spent hours and hours and hours, weeks, months and months doing this. This was like, we've been doing this for 2 years, and we're still in the beginning stages of this. So we have been building this slowly for long periods of time. And I've gathered these databases. If we're not utilizing these databases to the full extent, there's absolutely, in my opinion, no point to be adding new databases, okay, until we're really got this solid. Once we have this solid, and we have people that every month are saying, look, hey, I finished Doug was about to say earlier, hey, I sent out, or was it Mike? One of you guys was about to, I think it was Mike. You're almost done with Oklahoma, right? So Mike was literally like, I'll be done with Oklahoma at the end of this week. And then the next campaign, and then if Mike can take over Oklahoma, and then he's really solid, and then we have that set and in place until we can have all of the databases that we've already done set like that. To me, it would be counterintuitive to add more to this, because who's going to be contacting them, right? I mean, you could make your own database, and I would encourage that. Like if Sam said to me, I'm not really motivated by the doulas, I'm not really motivated by the reporters, but I'm highly motivated by reaching out to the LGBT community. And in fact, Sam came to me and he said, look, I want you to have my images on an LGBT for the MIME library. And so we created our own page for Sam to put up his images, and I'm going to be putting up more of his images on there very, very soon. So until we have this system that we're running right now really solid, I don't want to. I mean, if somebody says that's what they really want to do, and they're willing to commit that time period, I'm all for it. I'm all for. What I really want to do is make sure that we're utilizing our potential to be to the most, right, to the utmost. Hey, I've got to let you go because my computer is going to die soon, and if I don't get it charging, then all this reporting is going to go. So I'm going to let you guys go. I think we're good now. We've been talking for 2 hours and 15 minutes. I love you guys. Thank you for coming. Get a hold of me. Let's talk Sim, because I want to see if you want to get involved. And then Mike, thank you for joining us and doing this. And Sam, we'll talk. And
yes, absolutely. Sam, I do want to talk to you.
Right.
So,
okay. Right. Love you guys. Right, and I'll talk to you guys
when
soon.
You talk to them, if they want to get involved, you put their information in that Google Docs thing document.
I will.
So I can see it, and I'll contact them.
After you do your part, what else do you do?
That was Serena. You can go about your life. I don't want you to spend all your time doing this. I want you to get it done and sent, right? So I want you to get it done, sent, and then go enjoy your life. Like I don't want you to spend hours and hours doing this unless you have that time. And you say you can always come to us
to do it.
Right. I mean, you could come to us and say, hey, I've got more time. Send me another database, and we'll put you on another database. And you know what? You might be the person that helps us to open up new databases, right? You might be the person that can, open up a new, I thought about doing a campaign just about that forced retraction doctor in the state of Georgia, getting the whole media of Georgia and doing all that and running a media campaign to the state of Georgia for that, because that's ridiculous that you have to do.
It's such a huge problem. That forced retraction is,
right.
such a huge problem, and you find it at every
Hey guys,
level. People can't.
I'm going to cut you guys off. I'm sorry, because if I don't, then this computer won't save this, and I've got very limited time, and I've got to save this. So I want to save this and send it to YouTube. If my computer dies, and it will, none of this will be recorded. Okay, love you guys. I will talk to you guys soon. Peace and hair grease.
Break up the adhesions between the foreskin and the head of the penis.
In pediatrics, the reason we're circumcising is mainly because you feel more comfortable with a circumcised penis, especially since your other two children are already circumcised, right? Basically what we're doing is an elective procedure, primarily because you just feel more comfortable. In the clamp, then we clamp it.
Capitalization behind circumcisions. Hospitals and doctors can make big bucks off the procedure, especially since the foreskin doesn't always go out with the biohazard. Sometimes it's sold for a profit.
Look at the data. It looks like there are some things that it does reduce the incidence of, but there are things that are incredibly rare anyway.
There are religious, ethical, cultural, and medical reasons to circumcise. For Father Kobe Johnson, despite being circumcised himself, he decided not to circumcise his 4 boys.
The concern of, oh, I'm going to look different than my dad, or I'm going to look different than the other guys in the middle school shower, it doesn't really come up that much.
To him, medical benefits didn't outweigh the risks.